I surrender, I surrender. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I surrender. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I trust in God.
Good morning. Excuse me. Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. We're certainly glad you're here. My name is Bob Hardy. I'll be your co-host.
Good morning. I'm Dana Schmidt, and we're so welcome to have you at our service today.
We want to greet and bless everyone watching online. Your presence here adds to our spiritual community, and we are grateful for you being with us. Thank you for joining us. Please join me also in welcoming back our very special guest musicians, Heart Dream. Led by Steve and Mirabai Banks, joined by Melissa on piano, who is absolutely fabulous. We'll have Dusty on bass and Lariah on drums. Thank you for sharing your music with you today.
Reverend Kristen will be doing the meditation, and our guest, Mr. Will Keepin, will deliver today's message entitled Internet of the Heart, Cosmic Science on Inner Being. And Reverend Christian will introduce Will a little bit later.
Right. He's such a long resume.
Oh, that is true.
Before we begin, I invite you to turn your phones to silent as we enjoy this sacred service together.
And let's take a moment here to be grateful for the land our center rests upon. This is the Bay, Miwok, and Ohlone land.
Yes, and we honor the Bay, Miwok, and Ohlone people of today, and we are grateful for those who were stewards of this land before us. We commit to taking care of these sacred native grounds and Mother Earth.
Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. And our vision, and please let's say this together, our vision is a spiritually awakened world where all life thrives in conscious oneness.
And our mission is who we have come here to be. Let's say this together. We are a loving, inclusive community, expanding and living our divinity in sacred service for all. And our core values are love, connection, service, and wisdom. Yes.
If you're, can the ushers please stand? If you're with us for the first time, welcome. If you feel comfortable in doing so, please raise your hand, and we may give you we'd like to give you a welcome packet. Oh, welcome. Do we have a new person? And if you feel, like I said, if you feel comfortable, just raise your hand, and we will be giving you one of the packets. And in addition to information about Unity, there is a $10 coupon for which you can use to attend a class or some other event at Unity. Oh, excuse me, sorry. We invite you to visit our Welcome Center bookstore across from the cafe, across the patio, and to receive a welcome gift. And we hope you'll enjoy, we hope you'll stay and visit with us after the service.
Right, that's for everybody.
Yes, yes.
Connection cards are available in the newcomer welcome packet, obviously, and the seat pockets in front of you. And these cards are for everyone. You may submit a prayer request, and our prayer team will pray with you throughout the week.
And you may also share your feedback or request information, and please place the card in the basket with your offering. For those of you viewing online, connection cards are available on the Watch Live page on our website. We have several activities to highlight this week.
Yes, we do. This holiday season, Unity is opening our hearts to 2 families to the Adopt a Family program. Thanks to the incredible generosity of our community, every requested gift has now been claimed. Isn't that sweet? That's super sweet. Yeah. Thank you so much for your kindness and support. If you did today bring an adoptive family gift, please bring it to either Carl or in the back corner of the sanctuary. So thank you very much for your generosity.
And be sure to pick up a copy of our holiday events listing to stay updated on all the wonderful gatherings, services, and opportunities for giving that are planned. You can find a copy on one of the tables or send an email to the office to request one. Let's make this holiday season memorable together.
Yeah. Got both sides there.
Yes.
Please share your gratitude. Please share your gratitude with your spiritual family at our heartfelt, uplifting annual Thanksgiving Eve gratitude service on this Wednesday, November 26th at 7 p.m. Come get infused with gratitude and leave uplifted in the full spirit of Thanksgiving. And I have one more thing with that. I got my little Bobby teddy bear. So the bookstore people would like you to know that on gratitude service on Wednesday night, the bookstore will be open. If you'd like to purchase a teddy bear to pray on, they'll be available and open and ready to go. So the teddies are ready. Wednesday night.
For foster children.
For foster children. Once they're blessed, they'll go to the foster children that need some loving.
Which is so wonderful. And now I'd like to invite Mike McGarvey to the platform so he can tell us all about Unity's Thanksgiving Day potluck meal.
I absolutely love Thanksgiving. I've been saying this for, I don't know, more than 20 years. And absolutely love it. And anyone on the streaming, you're welcome to join us. Anybody that's here the first time, just a few times, come and join us. We have sign-ups for what you're bringing, so we kind of get an idea on the table by the bookstore. And it's just love, good energy, all the words you can think of, happiness. You got to come to see it, and joy. Yeah. Well, we have it, and we also have the bookstore is going to be our quiet room, sort of quiet. So the people who like a little more quiet and a little less energy have a nice place. We're trying to reach everybody. So just be here by noon, and we're going to have a great time. Absolutely great. Thanks.
Does Mike seem a little enthusiastic about Thanksgiving? And we're also thrilled that Dr. Elaine Aaron, author of The Highly Sensitive Person and expert in the field of sensitivity, is coming to Unity on December the 7th after Thanksgiving. Her new book, Spirituality Through a Highly Sensitive Lens, says it all. Elaine will explore sensitivity in the path to deep presence. Whether you're highly sensitive or love someone who's highly sensitive, this enlightening afternoon will open hearts and deepen compassion.
And as we prepare for our time of meditation, please join me in taking a very conscious, deep breath and affirming our statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God.
We begin with music, followed by guided meditation in silence.
May the love we're sharing spread its wings and fly across the earth and bring new joy to every soul who is alive. May the blessings of your grace and peace shine on everyone, and may we all see the light within.
Just invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. To take a nice deep breath and let it out, relaxing your shoulders as you do. Maybe one more of those. Just letting our whole beings catch up, body, mind, and spirit here in this sanctuary and settling into the sanctuary of our own hearts. Every breath an opportunity to settle in deeper. The recognition that our path to the One is right here within us. It can also be that transcendent expansion out into the cosmos. Today we travel the path that goes through the heart, deeper and deeper with every breath, eventually leading us back to that same place in the cosmos. Imprinted on these hearts the love that Mirabai and Steve just sang about, Heart Dream just sang about. The love found in the dreams of the heart. The dreams that were sourced in the very beginning by a divine intelligence that made you. And the dreams that you hold to remember. Remember the truth of who you are. The place from which you came. And most miraculous of all, to realize you can access it right here. Nowhere to go but here. So every breath an opportunity to settle in deeper to truth in our hearts. To open wide into the expanse of love is here for you today. Let every breath release that love. Nourish the cells of your being. Bring peace to your mind. So let us rest a few moments in the silence, in the expanding energy of love. let our energy travel down from the heart to the soles of our feet, touching the earth and making our place firm on the path of love, steps ahead, illumined by the light that guides us. Thank you, God, for our beings, for the miracle of life itself, and the human being, and you and your heart, portal into all of the cosmos, and the expanse of the all-loving one. And so it is.
May the heart we're sharing open wide and heal our souls with faith. And may we all realize the path is love. In the peace of God's grace, merge into the flow, walking the path of love, where our soul can grow, one in love, ooh, one in bliss, ooh, pattern perfection from the start, divine design in God's heart, resting still in the silence, dwelling deep within, spirit awakening, where all peace begins, one in love, ooh, one in bliss, ooh, pattern perfection from the start, divine design in God's heart. From the depth of our being, releasing everything, heart wide open and knowing, trust, surrender and sing, one in love, ooh, one in bliss, ooh, pattern perfection from the start, divine design in God's heart, one in love, ooh, one in bliss, ooh, pattern perfection from the start, divine design in God's heart, one in love.
A big open-armed welcome back.
To Heart Dream. For those of you who don't know Heart Dream, Steve and Mirabai Bangs have been a part of this community for nearly 30 years, or maybe 30 years, they lost track. And they moved up to Seattle area? North of Seattle about 3 years ago. So we get to hear them around Thanksgiving each year. So we are thrilled. We are thankful. And I want to introduce our amazing speaker today. And many of you know we've been talking about Jerry work a lot. That stands for Gender Equity Reconciliation International. And we're in the midst of a workshop this weekend. So there are almost 40 of us in the community that are a part of this workshop. And we continue this afternoon. So William Keepin and his wife Cynthia Bricks are here in the front row, and they are the co-founders of that work. In the back row, we have a couple of our facilitators as well, Annette and Sylvia, and on the aisle here, maybe you can wave, Julian is here as well. So, yeah, thank you. They've been holding amazing space for us as we work through our stuff, right? Because to get to gender healing, you have to go through gender wounding. And it's a journey, Lisa's face. So in it, this work has become the heart of Cynthia and Will's work, but Will has also, and the two of them have written books together, and they've recently updated Divine Duality to Healing the Heart of Humanity is the newest edition of that work. And Will also has another side to him. He is a physicist and a climate scientist. And and in my mind and my experience, he's a mystic. And so when you get a mystic and a scientist, it sounds like a joke, right? The punchline is you get Will. So, you're going to it's a mind-blowing message that he's about to share with us that has a lot of slides, and it has science, but it's really about spirituality and quantum physics and beyond quantum physics. So we are really blessed that you still have held to your scientific background and your love for Mother Earth and brought it into, as you were telling me earlier, he could have gone that route and continued the research of some of the people he's talking about. And he also felt like, I can make it real in humanity by doing this work that is so integral to our healing, so integral to the next level of our spiritual evolution. And so I am so grateful that you had to give up one path to be on this path, and here you are bringing it to us and bringing it to the world. So, but thanks for dabbling in the other one, because it's pretty amazing stuff. So come on up, Will. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kristen. I didn't quite expect that intro. Good morning, Unity. I want to speak today about what I call the Internet of the Heart. And it really is how I understand the unity of science and spirituality. So we're going to start with a talk that I heard from the Dalai Lama in the late 1980s. And he said, if you want to understand the deepest secrets of the cosmos, there's 4 steps. We all like, stepwise little methods. He said, first, explore the outer visible universe. Second, explore the inner, invisible cosmos and universe. Essentially, study physics and psyche. Third, he said, study the relationship between these two. And from those 3, you can come to know the deepest secrets of reality. So I'm going to begin now with the work of a physicist named David Bohm. Some of you may have heard of him. He was a colleague of Einstein's. He spent 50 years researching at the forefront of quantum physics and of spirituality, with extensive dialogues with leading spiritual masters, and he came up with his theory of the holo movement. in which he said the cosmos is a single unbroken wholeness in flowing movement in which everything is connected to everything else. Sound a little familiar, like the unity philosophy? I mean, essentially it is a unity of science and spirituality and all that is. Now, part of that is this whole phenomenon of non-locality or quantum entanglement. I'm sure many of you have heard this term or talked about it, and it relates to the deep interconnectedness of the entire cosmos. And in particular, background on Bohm, he was a close colleague of Einstein's. They worked together at Princeton, and both of them objected to the standard Copenhagen interpretation of quantum physics. You may have heard of it. Don't worry if you haven't. You don't need to be a scientist to understand this talk. But it basically said that the most we can ever know about reality is a statistical description of reality provided by the Schrödinger equation. Meaning, the most we can ever know about any experimental setup is a set of probabilities about what might happen. And both Einstein and Bohm said, no, that's not good enough. Einstein famously said, God does not play dice with the universe. Bottom line, they both felt there's more going on in reality than the instruments and theories and data of science so far are presenting. And Bohm then in 1952, he did what was considered impossible. And by the way, as a little gender side note, John von Neumann in 1935, I think, proved that it's impossible to have a quantum physics based on so-called hidden variables, i.e. things we can't see. And 2 years later, a female physicist named Greta Hermann disproved the proof and showed it was wrong, published it, and it was completely ignored. But in 1952, Bohm disproved it by just creating the new theory that von Neumann said can't happen. And later, Greta Hermann's proof was finally acknowledged. And how many of you heard of Greta Hermann? So there you go, the gender politics of science. But anyway, back to, she had the insight long before anyone else. And just on that note, the first scientist to ever discover global warming, and I can't even also remember her name, I'm embarrassed, but it was in the 1800s, was a female scientist who came up with the idea that carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. So, women have made a profound contribution to science that's often under-recognized. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, in 1952, Bohm did the impossible. He reformulated quantum physics based on, in part, non-locality. Now, non-locality is this idea of quantum entanglement that is sort of non-intuitive. And Einstein didn't like it at all. Because he said it violates relativity theory. It violates the fact that nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. Whereas quantum entanglement says if you have two particles that are entangled, you have one here, and you have another one here, 10 light years away, long ways away. You make a measurement here, and it immediately, instantaneously affects this one. So there's a fundamental, immediate interconnection between every point and every other point in the universe. And Einstein said, that's impossible. And he developed this so-called EPR paradox, thought experiment, to try to show how absurd it was. And he called it spooky action at a distance. In German, spukhafte Fernwirkung. So that was a way of repudiating, dismissing, and showing how absurd quantum physics was. So Einstein never, to my knowledge, ever deviated from that view. But in fact, Bohm in 1952 built this new theory based on non-locality and continued because that's what the data were showing. Bohm also redesigned Einstein's thought experiment into a way that it could actually be tested with photons. And so in basically about 1970s, along came a famous physicist, many of you may have heard Bell's theorem. Physicist John Bell here at the Lawrence Berkeley lab, just down the road from here. And John Bell also thought, okay, Bohm is really onto something here. He's got a new formulation, but I don't like that non-locality. Me and Einstein, we don't like that. He spent 12 years trying to get rid of it, literally. Mathematically, 12 years trying to get the non-locality out of this beautiful, otherwise beautiful theory. And he couldn't do it. And then, by his own account, he said he came to realize, Bohm forced me to realize non-locality is inherent in the nature of quantum physics, meaning the nature of our scientific understanding of reality. And he developed his famous Bell's theorem, which gave an experimental criterion that could be tested in the laboratory. And so began the tests. John Clauser in 1972, Alain Aspect, that's a butchering of a French name, which is probably Alain Aspect. I don't speak French, but anyway, I got very inspired in 1982 because I was a postdoc when I first heard this, and I thought, oh, wow, physics might actually prove mystical oneness. So I've been tracking it since then, and then during the teens and early, what did they call them, the noughties, and then the 20 teens, Anton Zeilinger and a whole team of physicists, they kept plugging the leaks and improving the experiment, and the critics would say, well, yeah, but have you thought about this, or what about that? And basically after, like 50 years of research, the Nobel Prize Committee finally awarded the Nobel Prize to these three physicists, honoring 50 years of research. Each one of those experiments validated quantum physics and repudiated, sorry, Al, the spooky action at a distance. It's real. It exists. And I love Einstein, and I love his spirituality. But it's a very important lesson that we must all be careful of, because Einstein himself was trapped by his own theory. This is the fundamental limitation of the human mind, and another whole talk. It's the fundamental place that science is now stuck in. And I'll just give you my one-sentence summary of it all, starting with Descartes, who said, I think, therefore I am. And the current condition of science is, I think, therefore I am stuck. And this is really true, because there is a deeper epistemology of the human being than just this part of the body. We have to expand into the full epistemological, utility and majesty of the human being. So really getting, and Bohm summarized it well. He said, thought creates structures and then pretends they exist independently of thought. So we build a little thought cage and we move in, and then we treat it like those walls of the cage are made of, lead and gold and concrete, and we never leave. This is the blind spot of the human mind. It's not just in science. It's a limitation of the human mind, and we need to grow beyond that. As the Sufis have a beautiful saying, understanding, the inability to understand, is true understanding. Oh, anyway, so back to Bell's theorem. So Bell's theorem really gave a way to test this, and this is so beautiful because the bottom line, 70 years after Bohm's 1952 paper, was that this dreaded spooky action at a distance is real, and it is, in fact, the foundation of today's second quantum revolution, is the fact that this fundamental interconnection. Now, they call it quantum entanglement. I stand here today and say that's a complete misnomer. It's not a tangle. The very use of that word implies separation and a collection of objects. But as Thomas Berry famously said, the universe is not a collection of objects. It's a communion of subjects. It's an interharmonious, glorious, orchestrated communion of oneness. And so the term I like instead of quantum entanglement is Thich Nhat Hanh's term, interbeing. We inter-are with one another. Every being inter-is with every other being. So it really should be called quantum interbeing. So anyway, that's my little correction to the term. But in my view, this particular set of experiments constitutes the closest thing we now have to essentially scientific proof, i.e. validation, because you can never really prove anything, but you can validate it, scientific validation of the inherent oneness of the entire cosmos. So, it's a very profound advance. Now, just a little bit more about David Bohm, who's a remarkable pioneer of science and spirituality. As I said, he had intensive, deep dialogues with spiritual masters like Krishnamurti. Some of you may be familiar with some of those writings down at Ojai. He did that a lot. And also with the Dalai Lama, in his deep quest to understand the ultimate nature of reality. And after 50 years of research at the forefront of both quantum physics and his dialogues with spiritual masters, he put it all together in his theory of what's called the holo movement. Holo meaning holographic or fractal, and movement meaning dynamism, constantly moving. And so this was the relationship between the visible and the invisible, kind of the Dalai Lama's little schema that I mentioned earlier. This was Bohm's answer to step 3. What is the relationship between the visible cosmos and the invisible cosmos? And it had what he called the explicate and implicate orders. I'm not going to go into detail about that right now because I want to keep moving to kind of the juiciest part. We're getting there. He also took the matter and energy. You know, most of science is formulated in terms of matter and energy. And then, of course, Einstein unified those beautifully with his famous formula, E equals mc squared. Right? So he's bringing energy and matter are two forms of the same thing. But Bohm said, no, there's a third foundational, fundamental element, and that's consciousness. And so it's matter, energy, and consciousness. And as he said, each of those enfolds the other two. So it's kind of a tripartite model, a foundation, building blocks of reality. So consciousness is fundamental. Now you have to understand, he was saying this back in the 60s and the 70s. Now it's a little more cool and recognized. There's a whole science of consciousness that is emerging. But back then it was way out there. And Bohm was quite significantly rejected by his scientific colleagues, which is another sad little story. But I had the great privilege of meeting with him and actually sharing some of these ideas with him back in the late 80s, which was a great blessing. And he encouraged me, keep going. So here I am. So another key lesson from Bohm was that, as he put it, a hidden order may be present in what appears to be random. And this is so important for science, because normally when science comes up against something that it doesn't understand, and it's getting a bunch of random data when it's trying to measure something, it concludes that the thing itself is random. It projects its own ignorance onto the reality it's trying to explore when it gets random data. Whereas Bohm and Einstein also recognized, wait a minute, that could be the limitations of our whole instrumentation. There could be another whole level of subtle realities going on behind the screen of what we can perceive with these particular instruments and this particular mind. Well, sure enough, now that's finally recognized, thank God, that in the last 10, 15 years, physics has recognized that 94% of the cosmos is what they call dark matter and dark energy, which means they don't know what's going on there. It's a rare example of humility in science, and I say that as a scientist because I had to go through my own humbling process, getting off the head trip of being a quantum physicist. But it's really important. Science itself is recognizing its own limitations. Only 94%, only 6%. It's got a grip on 6% of reality. This is by its own account. That other 94% is where all of the spiritual and the metaphysical and all these principles and laws and subtle dimensions of existence, the glory and the majesty of what is, are all hanging out beyond what the scientific instruments can mostly see. So it's a very key teaching that Bohm gave. And this hidden order is present everywhere but visible nowhere, extends throughout space and time, but also beyond space and time. It represents the unseen, that which is neither manifest nor accessible to our senses and our mind. And it has multiple levels. This is very important. It has the implicate order, the super implicate orders, very consistent with the different levels of reality that we see across the different spiritual systems, different philosophies. Spiritual philosophies. So there is a gradation from the material realm up to the most subtle spiritual realm that we recognize across the esoteric traditions in the spiritual models. So this implicate order is consistent with this idea that 94% of the cosmos is so-called dark matter and dark energy. But none of that was available then to Bohm. Those understandings weren't there. So that's why I'm saying he was really a deep seer. Now, holo movement. What's the holo part? As I said, it relates to holographic. And this is a key insight now from contemporary physics, that reality has an inherently holographic or fractal structure. And the simplest example of all is what's called the Mandelbrot set. And there's the equation there. Do not be intimidated by that equation. But let me just tell you, I'm going to show you the graph of that equation in a moment. You remember when you were in high school algebra, and you had a little y equals x squared, and you plot it out, and you get this lovely parabola. Well, this is the same thing, except that it's a nonlinear iterative process that takes place in the complex plane. Don't worry about all that. But when you plot it, when you plot the graph, you get this, which looks like a kind of a sitting Buddha, you know. This is called the Mandelbrot set, but it's a very unique, this is just the plot of that simple equation I just showed you. But to show you the complexity of this, we're going to just take a deep dive. We're going to zoom in right at the top. There you see the very top portion blown up. Zoom again right at that little pinch point at the top. We get this. And now we're going to dive right into the center, right into the interior of that pinch point. We go about an order of magnitude each time. So we're diving in, expanding by 10, expanding by 10. Here we're about 1,000,000 times magnified. You can see that little cross structure there, and at the center of that is some little star. We go into that, and then you see that little beautiful star, and there's a black dot at the center, and you go into that, and voila! 136 million times magnified, and we find an exact replica of the original. Now, in science, this is called nested sets of self-similar structures. Okay, fair enough. I think it's a modern scientific discovery of an ancient principle of Hermes, as above, so below, as within, so without. There is a correspondence between the vastness of the outer cosmos and the vastness of the inner reality. So, fractals, as I just said, are a modern scientific discovery of the ancient principle, as above, so below. The microcosm replicates the macrocosm. Now, the beauty is, we see these all around us. You think, oh, this is esoteric? Go out and look at a fern. And you look closely and you'll see that one branch of that fern is a miniature version of the whole thing. Or even better, get one of these Romanesque broccolis. Have you ever eaten one of these things? Well, you should look for them. They come out at certain seasons in the summer, and they're incredible. Look at that thing. Each nodule of the thing is a miniature version of the whole thing. And if you look up more closely in the surface of the thing, each nodule has a bunch of little nodulettes. And each one of those is a miniature version of the nodule, which is a miniature version of the whole thing. So this is like eating the cosmos for lunch. You know, but it really is. If you know how the Buddhists like to contemplate their food as they eat, put one of these in front of you, contemplate as you eat, and the whole cosmos will open up within you. Anyway, but it is really profound. These fractals are all around us, and we don't realize it. Another example, trees. If you just take one branch of a tree and haul it up and put it, it's a tree unto itself. That branch becomes a trunk and all of its little mini branches. So they call it also scale invariance. These are fractals are everywhere in nature. Lightning has a fractal structure, and the human body. This is the circulatory system. These are the blood vessels in the eyeball. If you look at the very top, it's the pupil. Right below that's the iris. Those are the blood vessels in the eye. They have a fractal structure distributed. So you're a walking fractal. Your lungs, the trachea in your lungs, have this same structure. At your brain, whoops. This thing is very sensitive. I can't get ahead of myself. Okay, on the left side, those are neurons in the brain. The scale here is a few microns. On the right side is astrophysicist conception of the entire cosmos. Structurally similar. Sure enough, if you take an electron microscope of your own body and blow it up, you're mostly empty space, right? Right. And so you're mostly empty. You look a whole lot like the cosmos. Little points of light here and there with vast nothingness in between. So now, everything I've said so far is fairly well-accepted science. I mean, the Nobel Prize was given, for that discovery and all of that. But now I'm going to take a little leap that's a little bit beyond sort of recognized mainstream science and suggest this. Consciousness itself also has this fractal structure. So it's not just in the physical aspects of the universe, but it's in the consciousness aspects. And that explains mysticism. It's because of that a Meister Eckhart can say that when God opened his heart, the fullness of God was revealed. The full divine beauty, the full infinity of God's divinity was revealed. Nothing held back. That's almost a direct quote from Meister Eckhart. How can that be? How can the infinity of the God be in some little 6-foot frame human being? Because of the internet of the heart. Because of the fractal structure of consciousness. So let's unpack this a little bit. Now, back to the Mandelbrot set. We're going to take a deep dive. Watch this closely because we're diving in. Here we go. Zoom. Now, remember, this is simply a mathematical object that we're looking at, but I want you to think of it as a metaphor for diving into the nature of consciousness itself, the nature of the cosmos itself. And it just keeps going and going as we dive in more deeply and expanding. And it has, okay, it looks like it's on a theme here, but in a moment it's going to break out into a new theme. And there's a kind of opening and vastness. It almost looks like some computer scientist dropped acid and is now trying to show you all the things that they saw. But this is really just a plot of a mathematical graph that represents this universal process of fractal consciousness. And in a moment, as you can see, look at all the glory. It's like the fanfare announcing the arrival of, there it is. You can see I didn't catch it quite in time. It's that fractal. So the little version of it is there, embedded in the sea of that huge cosmos. And that's the nature of each one of us. And if you then continue to zoom in on that little one, it has all the same intricate structure of the original. All the complexity of the large-scale cosmos is contained in each of its miniature-scale replicas embedded within it. So it's a very profound structure, and it leads to this. Rumi says it all in one line, like he often does, but this is the bottom line, in a way, of this whole talk. The secret turning in your heart makes the entire universe turn. This is not just a metaphor. This is an ontological reality. The deepest truth of who we are is none other than the deepest truth of the entire cosmos. It's one process, one being, as Plato said. And that being and its fullness lives in the depths of your being. Now, just to kind of flesh this out a little, here on the right-hand side, you see the mathematical process that we just saw with that fractal. Out of the set of all possible mathematical formulas, we pick one, z equals z squared plus c. We plot it out in full, and we get that beautiful, incredible fractal diagram that we just saw mathematically. Well, I want to assert that the creation works the same way. On the left-hand side, out of the set of all possible spiritual possibilities, the infinite spiritual possibilities, we take one spiritual seed, and out of that seed, we bring it into manifestation, and we get a whole vastness on this plane. And this is what the Bhagavad Gita says, for example. Krishna, God is in the form of Krishna, right? You probably all have heard of the Gita a little bit. God is the charioteer of Arjuna, and God proclaims, I am the original seed, the bijam of all existences. I am the origin of everything. From me all proceeds. My eternal seed is found in every creature. It all comes from this seed. Okay, that's from the Eastern tradition. Western tradition, same thing. John's Gospel. In the beginning was the Logos, the Word, the seed. And the Logos was with God, and the Logos was God. And through the Logos, all things were made. So we have this kind of similarity across the traditions. And so putting that and applying it to all the religions, this is sort of how I conceive of the kind of esoteric infrastructure of the major religious traditions. We have the highest level here, the absolute plane, the Godhead, the Dharmakaya in Buddhism, the Brahma Nirguna, the Ein Sof in Judaism. They all different names for the same ultimate absolute reality. And then that emanates into the kind of the plane of divinity. And these are non-material, esoteric structures of consciousness, or light, if you will. So we have the Christian Trinity. We have the Hindu Trimurti, another Trinity. We have Allah and the 99 Names in Islam, or we have Sambhogakaya in Buddhism. So we have these different, the Sephiro in the Jewish Kabbalah. And then each one of those further is refracted down into manifestation and becomes like a ray in the spectrum of spiritual traditions from the Godhead to humanity through different revelations. So this is how I understand the kind of the unity of the world religions. And I want to just take a moment and honor the unity tradition and the unity church for recognizing that, for upholding that. One way I think of it is sometimes is that the religions are the great spiritual treasures of humanity. Each one is a pathway to God. Yes, there's all kinds of corruption and all that stuff. We know that's true in every human institution. But there is a pure path to transforming and realizing God in each of these traditions. And how absurd that they fight with each other. I was saying earlier, it's kind of like a tree with all its branches and one branch slapping the other one down. You can't be a branch, I'm a branch. Ridiculous. They're all connected to the same trunk. They all drink from the deep waters, invisible waters below, and they reach up to the same transcendent sun above. Get over it. So one way to understand all of this is from an ancient principle, mystical image that the ancient mystics in India, in Hinduism and Buddhism came up with to try to explain, to kind of portray this in a metaphor. And it's called, what they came up with was called Indra's net. And here you imagine that the entire cosmos is this vast, infinite lattice of all these different jewels, each one of which, when you look in the facets of one jewel, you see all of the others reflected there. It's beautiful, isn't it? Very simple idea. And then if you look into one of those reflections closely enough, you'll see all of those vast jewels reflected in that reflection. So it's worlds of infinity within worlds of infinity, kind of like that broccoli, right? Same idea. Now, if you take Indra's net, I did a whole thing on graphic AI to get it to do this, and this is the best I got it to do. Now, maybe I'm not that good at it, but neither is it. Because it's so incredibly beautiful. But if you take Indra's net, that image of this vast array of jewels, each of which reflects all the others, and you now add space and time. Adding space means you make them of different sizes. So you have some that are our size, and then you have some that are Earth size, planetary size, galaxy size, and all the way down to subatomic particles. So that's your spatial variation. And then you add temporal variation, meaning you get it all moving and whirling around. So you have this grand movement of all of these different jewels. Now, if you look in any one little jewel as it's cruising around in that, you'll see the entire cosmic dynamism of the whole universe replicated in miniature right in that jewel. And that is the nature of each one of us. Each one of us is a walking miniature galaxy. And we contain the full infinity of divinity right inside here, all neatly encapsulated. That's the truth of who we are. This thing is giving me a little bit of grief. Okay, so here we go. This is what I mean by the internet of the heart. Each of us can access the full infinity of divinity through our own hearts and bodies. So the bottom line of this whole talk is that you are not just a drop from the infinite ocean. You are the infinite ocean, contained in a single drop. It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's kept me going for a long time. So how do we realize this truth? Okay, that's great, that's theory, but how do we actually make it real? Well, one avenue is, I'm still struggling with this thing. One avenue is to unite the polarities. One of the principles of manifestation is that there's a kind of a grand principle of cosmic polarity. You see it in Theosophy and other places. Yin-yang is a very good summary of it. So in yin-yang, and you can see here how I've done it, you have this duality of two, but each little circle there is another miniature yin-yang. So it's like a fractal yin-yang. It applies at every scale of manifestation. And in the Taoist tradition, the real secret of yin and yang is neither yin nor yang. Neither side ever wins out over the other. It's ridiculous. Think about it. The tides, they come in, they come out. If they keep coming in, everything gets flooded and drowns. If they keep going out, everything dries out and dies. The only way that life happens is with the balance between the polarities. The real secret is the union that transcends both. And that is this ecstatic congress that's inherent in the intricate interplay of key dualities or polarities. And there are many of them. Here's some examples. Explicate and implicate, the outer and the inner, the visible and the invisible, the microcosmic, the macrocosmic, masculine and feminine. And of course, that's a classic duality. And of course, there's the expression of masculine and feminine in terms of the human sexuality is one example of that, but there's an esoteric counterpart to that in the divine plane that is birthing divine realities. So there's the grand power of bringing these two together and giving birth to new realities. Matter and spirit, solar and lunar, temporal and eternal, form and emptiness. There's the Buddhist understanding, that duality. Sometimes it's bliss and emptiness. But that interplay between the two is what creates existence. So, and when you bring those two together, you realize the highest source and truth of that existence. And that's what Bohm meant by the Holo movement. So some examples of that. Well, this one jumped to Hermes, which is great. That's Hermes, the great, thrice great Hermes, Egyptian mystic, and the Western esoteric tradition, which is the unity of sun and moon. And then we have, in Tantric Hinduism, cosmic union of masculine and feminine that goes beyond duality into oneness. This is a depiction of a deity that's half male and half female. So masculine and feminine merge into one being. Ardhanishvara, Shiva and Parvati dissolving out of their tunas into a deity of oneness. And then from there, one continues and moves into, beyond gender altogether, into union with Brahman. And we see this also in the Western tradition in alchemy. Here's an example of alchemy where the masculine and feminine are united together in a single human being. And this is also expressed beautifully in the Gospel of Thomas. Many of you probably know this famous logion. When you make the two become one, the outside like the inside, the higher like the lower, so that a man is no longer male, woman no longer female, but male and female become a single whole, and then you shall enter in the kingdom. So this is a deep esoteric truth that is found across the spiritual traditions, including the African traditions and the indigenous traditions. Here's another expression of it in the non-canonical Gospel of Philip, one of the Gospels found at Nag Hammadi. Beautiful. None can be free unless they receive a power which is both masculine and feminine. And then that which is above opens itself to those we who are below, and we're invited into the interior. So there's an exquisite mystery that the union, bringing together the dualities, we enter into a portal, into a deeper mystical secret of existence. We see it also in the Kabbalah, the Bina and Chokhmah in their ecstatic congress give birth to all the lower Sephiro and all of creation. So, bottom line, this is all summarized by a Buddhist scholar, Ajit Mukherjee, who said, if you come to know the deepest secrets of the body, you come to know the deepest secrets of the cosmos. The human body is literally a miniature cosmos. And this is something that was understood in the esoteric traditions, particularly of the East. This is one model from Kashmir Shaivism. And you have these different levels of spiritual existence all contained and accessible through the human body. Here's another map of this esoteric structure. Now, neuroscience and the cutting edge of spirituality are beginning to meet, but there's a long ways to go. And the whole concept of the human body has traditionally understood in medical science as, the heart is, a pump, and the brain is a computer, and the joints are pulleys, and the kidneys are filters. I mean, it's not a car. It's so much more than that. And these maps and the esoteric tradition are now finally beginning to be recognized in Western understandings through work like, the Heart Math Institute, for example, important work, and Joe Dispenza and other frontier pioneers who are really moving beyond traditional understandings and beginning to map out the profound, glorious structure of the biospiritual majesty and miracle that is the human body, through which these things can be directly realized. This is another example of the body of light. Christ said, I am the light of the world, and you are the light of the world. And that's truly who we are. Hermes also said that long before Christ. So now to bring this to a close, across the traditions, this oneness with the infinite divine is found universally. So, in the Upanishads, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. In the Gita, we see the self in every creature and all of creation in the self. This incredible fractal inclusion. We see it, of course, Jesus, I and the Father are one. In Islam, on al-Haq, al-Halaj, who got the same treatment as Jesus did for that, executed publicly while he prayed for his executioners. And then the Psalms, be still and know that I am God. So the bottom line across the traditions is this: the inmost essence of the human being is none other than the transcendent essence of the divine being, whether you call it Dharmakaya, Tao, Goddess, Brahma, Great Spirit. So I'm going to close with this image of, published in front cover of Nature in 2014. This is actually a composite image gathered by data from telescopes of the nearest 100,000 galaxies to our own. And that little point you are here, that's the Milky Way galaxy. So that contains 100 billion stars all by itself, but that's just one little point in this thing. So this is 532 million light years across, okay? And even in Nature, they actually said, it looks like, because each point there is a galaxy, and each thread that you see is the movement of that galaxy through space. And in Nature, they actually said they're all converging on this thing that's that center object there that kind of sort of looks like a heart. And of course, that's a two-dimensional representation of it. So if we go to a three-dimensional representation, this is just sketching out the lines. It's called the Laniakea supercluster. So it's the attractor that's emerging to which all these galaxies are converging. And if we look at it in a 3D thing here and rotate it, whoops, man, this thing is giving me grief. Can I get that to rotate? Let me try, go back one more. This worked in the previous service. We've only got, okay, here we go. Let's see if that'll work. Here we go. And look how those lines map perfectly on the human heart. So this is the Laniakea supercluster, this heart-shaped giant cosmic heart, of which we are at the center of a 532 million light-year wide heart. So I want to close by inviting you to just close your eyes for a moment. And just breathe in, take a deep breath. And just breathe inward to that inner heart. With the awareness that the vastness of the outer cosmos is matched by the vastness of the inner cosmos in your own heart. As without, so within. And that if you want to go to the deepest truth and source of who you are, whether you explore it outwardly like the scientist who goes out with telescopes, or you go inwardly with spiritual perception into the depths of your being. Either way, you have to go through the heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation and the love and the power that you shared with us today. I'm going to have trouble saying it because when I was 12, which was a really dark time in my life, I won't take long, a book came to me. It was by Einstein. And I know that obviously some of his theories have been expanded or not seen as where the science is right now. But in that, it gave me a peace. I knew I was part of this whole universe, and I think it saved me. And I appreciate you expanding on that today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. What she said. All right, as we take a breath and just recover, just appreciating what we saw and what we experienced, our prayer chaplains are available after the service to provide personal prayer support. If you are a prayer chaplain serving today, please stand. Our prayer chaplains wear the purple stoles. Thank you for serving today.
Are we here?
You're right here.
Whether you have a joy or a concern in your heart today, praying with our prayer chaplains is a powerful opportunity to have your intentions raised up in consciousness.
Now let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. And I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation. As we give, we shall receive. In truth, there is no lack or limitation. Abundance is our true nature, as we just witnessed.
And for your convenience, there are a variety of ways, to give, as shown on the screen. For those who are watching at home, there's a donate button on the Watch Live page. And we encourage everyone to set up regular and automatic giving to the Unity using your bank's free bill services. It just lets you know that you've done what you need to do. You don't have to worry about it.
Very nice. Okay, so I invite you to take your tithe, your loving thoughts, your expansion of what we've learned today, and to bring that close to our hearts, our power center. And repeat our affirmation together with me. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. So it is. Thank you.
I knew there was a reason why I love broccoli. So many lessons I have left to learn, 'cause my mind wonders which way to turn. So I stop and listen to the trees, and for God's healing whisper in the breeze. Close my eyes, go deep within. Every day, that's where I start. Breathing slow and listening I get home really late at night, I thank God for this divine insight that love's in every heart and hand, reaching out for me to understand. Close my eyes, go deep within. Every day, that's where I start. Breathing slow and listening, I talk to God in my heart as I walk on the sacred path with the sun upon my face. I rise above the rocky ground to the endless bliss of God's grace. Take it, Melissa. Close my eyes, go deep within. Every day, that's where I start. Breathing slow and listening, I talk to God in my heart. I talk to God in my heart. I talk to God. Hello, God, in my heart.
Well, that was pretty much a perfect song to go with that message, wasn't it? You got room for more? Of course you do. Well, thank you all for your giving, for your spirit, for your heart-centered existence on this planet, and for the love that is represented here. Often we could call this love offerings, giving from love, and that certainly feels present right now. So taking a moment just to maybe tune into your heart and to thank yourself for your own generosity, for your own participation in the giving and the receiving and the law of circulation that goes out into the world to bless untold lives in ways we may never see. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit, for the opportunity to participate in this way, to open our hearts in this way. And we know as we also bless it again together, as it has been gathered, that we multiply that good. So let's bless it. We give thanks for the ever-increasing, constant flow of absolute good in our lives now. So it is. And let's sing the children in.
We are a circle of love. We are a circle of light. Come join the circle of love. Come join the circle of light. The light in you and the light in me are one. We are a circle of love. We are a circle of light. Come join the circle of love. Come join the circle of light. The light in you and the light in me are one. The light in you and the light in me are one.
Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday. Today we read a couple of stories about Thanksgiving, and we kind of talked about what we were thankful for. And River, I'm going to pass this on to you. He wanted to say a little something.
Yeah, so we read 2 stories. One of them was about Thanksgiving, and then the other one was about a horrible Thanksgiving. So I'm going to talk about the second one, the not-so-good one. They somehow managed to have their turkey run across the street. They put mashed potatoes in a blender. That went well. They fed all of their salad to rabbits and bought air pies. So, yeah, that went pretty good for them. Then we colored and listened to music.
So yeah, we had a good day, and we want to say Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. All right, well, I see some new faces here, so welcome to our new children who might be here for the first time. Is that true? Yes. All right. Well, let's bless our children, our youth, and teachers together. Children, youth, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. One quick announcement before we do our closing song. Several people in the first service asked Will if there was a book about what he presented today, and he did write a book called Belonging to God that does have some parts about the fractals and also has different religious paths and the inter-spirituality of it all as well. So look up Belonging to God. All right, let's close out.
Okay.
Welcome you to stand if you like. If you want to just be in your own space, maybe hands on a heart. And if you want to hold a hand nearby, reach your hands out.
And please join us in singing I Choose Love.
1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One side binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
You are the light and the love and the peace on earth right now to infinity and beyond. Let your light shine. Have fun and spread joy.
1, 2.